Hi, this is Jeff Curto, and welcome to episode number 68 of Camera Position, a podcast about the creative side of photography. Well, yeah, I know I've been away a long time again, and I am happy to be back with you. In the meantime, I have moved, and I have moved from my little Harry Potter-esque closet under the stairs to an elaborate suite of rooms. Oh, no, it's not an elaborate suite of rooms, but it is, in fact, the nicest studio space I've had really in a very long time. A large space where I can spread out my photography gear and my post production equipment and all the other things that I need to have. So, welcome to my new home away from home. And in fact, I will do a podcast about this space at some point and how I've got it set up and talk about post production kinds of issues and production issues and so forth. But for now, I've been thinking about something. I've been thinking about it quite a bit, both from editing images that I've been making recently, but also looking at photographs that other photographers have made, specifically many of my students, and thinking about zoom lenses and comparing zoom lenses to prime lenses or fixed focal length lenses. Now, in the world of contemporary photography, especially contemporary digital photography, zoom lenses are a big deal. It's really kind of tough, in fact, to buy a digital SLR without the zoom lens part of the kit. And if you've got a point and shoot camera, by golly, there's a zoom lens attached to it. Very few of the point and shoot cameras come with fixed focal length lenses. Well, here's the problem with zooms. They tend to make you lazy. They tend to make you lazy in that you tend not to move around your subject. You simply stand in front of the subject that you found. Look, there's something I want to photograph, and zoom the lens to frame it the way you want and make the photograph without spending a lot of time thinking about where you're positioning yourself. Where are you relative to the subject? How far away? How far up? How far down? How far to the left and the right? And I think that zoom lenses sometimes can deal uh, with subject matter effectively, but a lot of times, especially for contemplative photography, where we're trying to express something, where we're trying to really explore the subject, a fixed focal length lens has some big advantages, and let me kind of enumerate them. First of all, if you don't own a fixed focal length lens for your SLR camera, golly, you should go buy one. And here's why: they're really cheap. The fixed focal length 50 millimeter lens, which, depending on the size of your digital camera sensor, would be either slightly long or the normal lens that we've always talked about with 35 millimeter cameras, normal in that it allegedly approximates the field of view of the human eyes minus the peripheral vision. So the fixed focal length 50 millimeter lens, boy, they're under $100, even the image stabilized ones. And another advantage is that they have generally very large maximum apertures. The one that I have for my Canon DSLR has a 1.8 opening, which of course enables shooting in low light a lot more than the zoom lens that might have a maximum opening of 4.5 or 3.5 or something like that. So the notion of being able to shoot in low light levels and to not have to worry about the zoom, zooming with your feet, moving around the subject, trying to explore the subject in a variety of ways. Can you do this with a zoom lens? Absolutely. But a fixed focal length lens forces you to move around the subject. You have to stalk the subject, as it were, move around it, go up, go down, left, right, in and out, going in towards the subject to focus on details, going farther away from the subject to show it in context. So try to think about that. Now, if you don't want to go out and buy a fixed focal length lens, well, don't. grab a piece of duct tape, duct tape, the universal it can fix everything kind of device. Grab a piece of duct tape and tape your zoom ring to the lens body so that you can't zoom it, and you will have a fixed focal length lens. It'll be frustrating at first, but it will certainly be extraordinarily useful to you in terms of making sure that you are getting the most out of your subject. So moving around, Henri Cartier-Bresson, the great photographer, typically used a 50 millimeter lens or slightly wider, a 35 millimeter lens. And by golly, if fixed focal length lenses were good enough for Cartier-Bresson, they ought to be good enough for us, right? So move around with your subject. Oh, another thing that I wanted to mention is low light level photography. Now, I know I've extolled the virtues of tripods here in the past, and in fact, I have mentioned both here and on the Focus Ring podcast, and I hope that those of you who are listening to Camera Position are listening to the Focus Ring podcasts. Focus Ring is an effort by the members of the Photocast Network, of which Camera Position is a member. And the Photocast Network, a group of great photo podcasts, and some of the members of a group of members get together about once a month over Skype and talk about photography on a podcast called The Focus Ring. You can find information about it at photocastnetwork.com. But I know I've mentioned this on the Photocast Network at some point, but the poor man's tripod, go to the hardware store, buy a 1/4 by 20 screw eye. It should cost you about 40 cents. And a length of stout twine. I use some nylon twine because it will not break very easily. Tie the nylon twine onto the screw eye. Screw the screw eye into the bottom of your camera where the tripod screw would go. And 1/4 by 20 is the American standard. I have to admit I don't know what the Euro standard is, those of you who are out there listening. But screw that screw eye into the bottom of your camera. Unravel the string from the screw eye and stand on the string, pulling the camera up against the resistance of the string, and you'll be surprised at how much steadiness you get out of this rig. Steadiness that doesn't certainly rival a tripod, but I can get at least a couple of shutter speeds slower using my poor man's tripod, which I carry around with me all the time. I mean, it's really, really tiny. One of the complaints that I hear from photographers all the time who don't want to use tripods is, oh, they're too bulky, they're too heavy, there's too much to carry around. The poor man's tripod is a great solution for that. I can't lay claim to inventing this idea. It's something I heard about a long time ago, but I think that you will find it to be a very useful device. Make one. It'll take you about 15 minutes, depending on how far away your hardware store is, and use that along with this fixed focal length lens. And I've emphasized the 50 millimeter lens, but I would also suggest that there are advantages to be gained from longer focal length lenses as well, longer and shorter focal length lenses. Now, yeah, they do complicate your kit bag a little bit. You've got a little bit more to carry around than your single zoom lens, but I think there's also something to be said for contemplating how much or how little of the subject you want to include in the frame by choosing a focal length of lens rather than simply standing in one spot and zooming the zoom ring back and forth. So zoom lenses, really widespread, but boy, not quite as useful, I think, to me as a fixed focal length lens. And I suppose I've been thinking about this quite a bit because almost all of the work that I do is with fixed focal length lenses. Now, of course, that has a lot to do with the type of cameras that I'm using. Most of you who've been listening along for a long time know that I frequently use a 4x5 view camera, and I also use Hasselblad medium format equipment. I'm including some photographs from both of those devices, as well as photographs from my Canon DSLR with a 50 millimeter lens. And again, I really just find this to be a wonderfully useful technique for improving composition, improving understanding of subject, and improving my photographs. Those of you who are out there and are in or near New York City, or those of you who are visiting Photo Plus Expo this week, the week of October the 23rd through the 25th, I will be speaking twice at Photo Plus Expo at the Jacob Javits Center, once on Thursday, Thursday the 23rd of October 2008. I will be speaking at the Javits Center at 9 a.m., talking about podcasting and digital storytelling. And then I will also be talking again on Saturday, the 25th of October at 9 a.m., along with a number of other photo educators talking about teaching photography in the digital age. So if you're a student of photography, if you are interested in podcasting, if you're interested in telling stories using digital technologies, or if you are a photo educator looking to expand your repertoire of tools that you can use with your students, those might be some sessions you might want to attend. And if there are any listeners out there who come to those sessions, please stop up to the speakers table and say hello. I'm excited to be going out to New York to Photo Plus Expo and would love to meet anybody who's out there listening and say hello and get to know you a little bit better rather than just through the microphone. So thanks for being here, and thanks for joining me on Camera Position, a podcast about the creative side of photography. Camera Position is a proud member of the Photocast Network, your photo resource in the potosphere. photocastnetwork.com